Carbon footprints are a way of measuring how the products we use affect the environment and potentially contribute to climate change. When people talk about carbon footprints, they're usually referring to the emissions from fossil fuels like oil and gas used in the production process. But there's another way of looking at this as well, and that's to talk about biogenic carbon, which is carbon produced by natural processes. Trees, for example, absorb and store carbon dioxide from the atmosphere, and that's biogenic carbon. Carton and ECMA, the European Carton Makers Association, have calculated both fossil carbon and biogenic carbon footprints for cartons. Roland is the president of Carton. Lundeen is the president of ECMA. Why calculate carbon footprints in the first place? Here's Roland.
The carton industry is responding to our customers, who are the manufacturers and retailers of packaged products. They want to choose a packaging material which fulfills their requirements for sustainability and enhances the credentials of their products. And from our point of view, by calculating the carbon footprint of our industry, we can demonstrate that folding cartons are an ideal packaging solution for our customers. We have already calculated the average industry fossil carbon footprint twice and have seen an improvement in the industry's performance of 7% in 3 years, which we aim to continue to improve. The carton industry carbon footprint, cradle to gate, is 964 kilograms of fossil CO2 emissions.
Manufacturers and retailers, though, always want to know about a carton's fossil carbon footprint, so why calculate a biogenic one as well?
There is currently no standard approach to measuring a carbon footprint, and the debate is still continuing, for example, in ISO. In the meantime, our industries have a unique attribute to bring to the discussion, which is the fact that the raw material for cartonboard, which is again the raw material for carton, is wood fiber, derived from sustainably managed forests whose trees absorb carbon from the atmosphere and store it. This is the cycle. Growing trees capture and store carbon dioxide, and when the wood fiber is processed into cartons, the carbon continues to be stored in the carton. Each time the carton is recycled, the carbon is kept locked away. Carton and ECMA members are convinced of this carbon benefit of our natural raw material and believe that cartons must be given credit for it in carbon footprint calculations. To see if we could measure this benefit, Carton supported our partner ECMA in a study by IVL Swedish Environmental Research Institute into biogenic carbon and cartons.
Lundeen is the president of the European Carton Makers Association, which sponsored this biogenic approach to carbon footprinting. So, how new is it?
It's not entirely new, but despite the obvious carbon benefits of carton's raw material, there is still no agreed method to include forest carbon in the carbon footprint of forest products, such as cartons. So we decided to commission IVL's report to contribute to the debate. ECMA wanted to see if we can quantify the carbon benefits of using carton board as our raw material. This approach is open to discussion, but the carton board and carton industry feels it is valid to examine it. Essentially, IVL's report describes a methodology for measuring biogenic carbon in cartons by relating the carbon benefits of its natural and renewable raw material, which comes from the forest to cartons. It illustrates the link between sustainably managed forests and cartons as follows. Consumer demand for cartons stimulates demands for timber, which in turn encourages the sustainable management of forests.
What are the key conclusions of that IVL report?
We can summarize them. First, the demand for cartons improves carbon sequestration in the forest. Secondly, choosing cartons promotes the use of renewable energy. And thirdly, recycling cartons stores carbon and helps avoid emissions. There is a key figure to keep in mind from the IVL study. From each ton of cartons consumed, 730 kilograms of biogenic carbon is removed from the atmosphere. According to Carton's fossil carbon footprint, 964 kilos of fossil carbon dioxide emissions are released from 1 ton of carton board produced and converted. We find that in a cradle-to-grate approach, the net carbon footprint is 230 kilograms.